Hey you guys, it is Nae. So I'm gonna be doing another story time. This story time, again, gonna just really jump right back into it. But this story time is gonna be on the time my friend got arrested for a DUI. And we'll be getting into all that. But first, I want to say thank you so much for all the views and the likes on my very first YouTube video. It's not a lot, and I still very much appreciate it. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. And I appreciate my friends and my family for supporting me and watching the video. So I really hope you guys like these story times and everything like that. But let's just get into it. So let's start off with my friend. Okay, cool, whatever, right? So we're gonna name him Carr. We're gonna just name him Carr. Mr. Carr, there you go. So I met Mr. Carr when we were working together. That part of it don't even matter. Don't even trip about it, right? But when I first met Mr. Carr, I just recently transferred to his shift. So when I met him, he was really cool. He was dope. He's always been really cool and dope, don't get me wrong. It's just when I started working there more and we started like really talking and stuff like that, just on some cool friend shit. I always saw a different side of him. So I'm gonna kind of tell you, our friendship and then everything that led up to what it led to. So, Mr. Carr, he's a really cool dude. I met him when we were working at like this parking place, okay? So I don't drive, so I was the cashier for the parking place. But Mr. Carr, he's like the attendant to the cars. He's the valet driver. He's the person that drives the cars and parks them and everything like that. So Mr. Carr would always drive and take them, but he was really cool. He did his job, really, he always did, but he would also like take hella naps and only wake up if he was really absolutely needed. And me and him worked the overnight shift, and I think I worked 6 days and he worked 7 days. It was crazy. Our shifts were pretty long. It was like 8-hour shifts. So I would get in around 9 o'clock, 9. I think he came in around 10 or something like that. And we both wouldn't get off until like 6 something, 6 a.m. So yeah, 9 p.m. all the way to 6 a.m. And we would spend a lot of time hanging out together. We would get food when it was during those dead hours, which was like around 1 or 2 a.m. usually was the deadest hour. So we would try to get food around that time, since we don't technically have a lunch break, because when it's an overnight shift, there's only really one person there doing that specific job. So the day shift had it easy because they could take their lunches and they could take their breaks and stuff, because they had someone to cover them, because there's always at least 2 or more people working that same job. But for us, there was only one cashier, me. There was only one valet driver, Mr. Carr, and then there was another person. He doesn't do the valeting and he doesn't do cashiering though. So he could valet, but that's not what his job was. So he couldn't really do our job. So when we had a chance to get our break in, we did, So we would always get food, Jack in the Box, pizza or McDonald's, stuff like that. And so we would always buy each other stuff, like we'll buy each other Monsters and stuff like that. And so we've been like, really chill for maybe 2 months now. At this point, he says he considers me a friend. And I was like, okay, cool, dope. And I really got to get to know him more and more. And I want you to keep this in mind when I say this, but he told me, Mr. Carr told me, that he doesn't find any of the women in our workplace attractive, right? And I didn't take no offense to that, because if you take offense to something, someone says, and it's their opinion, well, if the shoe fits, right? So I didn't take that personally. I was like, I know I'm a bad bitch. I don't need no one to tell me that. I don't fucking care. I'm not here for y'all opinion. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, you don't find no one here attractive? He was like, nah. He was like, you okay, and you okay. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, no one here is like anyone I would want to like, you know. And I was like, yeah. That's cool. That's a bet. So, you know, we're like talking more. We get to talk more. And a few days go by when he tells me this. And, you know, I'm like doing my shift and everything. And the valet driver, not Mr. Carr, but another one, the one before Mr. Carr takes over the shift. He's like, yo, where's Mr. Carr? Like, da da da. And I'm like, oh, I don't know actually. Couldn't tell you. I don't have his number or nothing like that. Like, I don't have it on social media, so I don't know. And they were like, okay, well, does anyone has his number? And I think one of the other cashiers had his number. And I was like, okay, cool, bet. And so they were like, oh, call him. They're calling him, no answer. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe he know it's you. Let's call on the office phone. So we did that, no answer. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's busy, he's on his way, or maybe he's just driving. You know, you're not supposed to be on your phone and driving, so maybe that's what he's doing. I know good and well what he probably is doing, but like, I'm like, it's none of my business. Like, I'm gonna do my job, and I don't know what to tell y'all, but y'all better get somebody. So like a few hours goes by, and he's still not on his shift. So I'm thinking he's just not coming in. But I don't know here, I don't like nowhere. He actually like walks through the back door, and I'm like, where have you been? Like, everyone's been calling you and wondering where you've been at. And by this point, the valet driver left because we weren't getting any customers, so there was no reason for him to stick around really. And the other person that's usually on the shift with me and Mr. Carr, he can always do the valeting part if we needed him to. So it wasn't that we didn't have a valet, but you know, like I said, everyone had their specific jobs for a specific reason. So I thought that was funny because I was like, oh shit, like, okay, like he just walks in late, and I'm like, yo, you're wildin'. And not only does he walk in late, he walks in drunk AF. He is smacked to the wall. He's like, yeah, I was out drinking with my friends. We been drinking all day. We had bottles and White Claws and a whole bunch of liquor, and I've been drinking beer. And he's like, I'm like, yo, that's wild. And he is smacked. He's smacked, dude. Like, he's slurring his words and everything like that, you know. And I'm like, okay, like, it's wild. But I knew he was drunk because of the way he was talking to me, right? So I don't know how to explain this, but you know, like when he be talking to me, you know, it'd be like chill, it'd be like a flow, like he's not forcing nothing, it'd be quick too, like, you know, usually he's always trying to do his job, or he's trying to get a nap in or do something, you know, like he's not really the type to be wanting to just stand around and talk. He can, but I always got that feeling that he didn't really want to do that for the most part. So with that being said, Mr. Carr was talking to me kind of different today. Like he really badly wanted to talk to me, even when I was on the phone with a customer answering questions or trying to do reservations and stuff like that. He was talking to me mad hard, like just asking me questions and telling me stuff, you know, whatever. So I was like, you must be hella drunk, because I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever, bet. So he's a mad drunk dude, but he still is able to do his job. Now, I, for one, definitely never have condoned drinking and driving. I never thought that was ever a smart idea, and I still don't like it. I don't like anyone that does it. With that being said, he's a grown-ass man. I can't tell him what to do. And on the second hand, I'm also not finna snitch and be someone like that. So I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, he was drinking on the job, and I don't know what his deal was, but that's what he did. That's what he was finna do. And, you know, it was what it was. So that was the first time he came in drunk, but nothing happened after that. Like, he was able to do his job. He wasn't that drunk, but he was able to do his job, and he was able to go home a little early, whatever, right? So this is maybe the next weekend. I'm pretty sure it's next weekend. And again, same thing happens. He's not coming in to work, and so at this point, I'm figuring out, his deal. I was like, he's probably out drinking, to be honest with you. I don't say that to nobody. Everyone's asking me where he at because me and him are pretty close of friends and coworkers. But like, nothing ever really came about that. Like, no one's ever said anything else other than, hey, do you know where so and so is? Or do you know where Mr. Carr is? And I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, I'm here, so I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I'm here doing my job. I don't know what you want from me. So anyway, then basically, same thing happens. He does eventually come in. He comes in late though. Before that though, he does actually end up calling the office phone, and I just so happen to pick it up. Everyone's standing around. Now, by everyone, I mean the day shift people. They're standing around ready to go home basically, but they're in the office space. I'm the only one behind the counter. So I answer the phone. I'm like, welcome to da da da, how may I help you? And I hear it's him. I'm like, oh yo, dude, like, where you at? Like, everyone's wondering where you at. Like, certain people can't go home until you get here. Mind you, we had a 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, he just turned 19, balleting and everything, but he was in school. And around this time, it was around midnight at this point, and he was like, I really got to get home. I got school early in the morning. Like, I can't just be sitting around here. He wasn't in high school, but he was in college, so he had college classes. And so I just was like, yeah, so and so, he got to be going because he got classes and stuff. Like, when you finna show up? He was like, I'm on my way right now. Like, I've been out drinking and da da da. And I can tell in his voice he's drinking and stuff. I'm like, the manager's here and everything. I'll let them know. He was like, okay, cool, bad thing, good looking. And, he hangs up. So when he hangs up, I tell everyone, he's on his way. Like, he's probably not no more than 30 minutes. And everyone's like, okay, well, that's good enough time. Like, if you need a valet, the other person can do it. Everyone else went home. So it's just me and one other dude. We're, trying to get all this together. We're trying really hard, but it's kind of difficult when we don't have a third person. We do need 3 people on the shift. That's the minimum, is 3 people. So since he's not here, it's kind of hard for me and him to both do our jobs. And now it's making the customers wait for their cars, wait for other stuff. So it's wild like that. But anyway, he does eventually come in. But again, he comes in drunk. And at this point, all the customers have left. And I'm like, yo, you came in drunk again? Like, I like getting drunk too. Like, you're going to have to, let me drink with you sometime. Joking, of course. Not really, like, oh, but in a sense, I was joking. But anyway, he was like, oh, like, I'm still drinking. I got White Claws. I'm like, there's cameras everywhere. Like, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't be drinking. Like, there's cameras. And he was like, I'll just hide it. Da da da. Like, I don't give a fuck. Sip. And he's just drinking out in the blue. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. You got me in my damn. But at this point, all the customers were gone, and it's about to hit the deadish hour, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. ish. And I can tell, like, he's still drinking. He's telling me about his night, and he was drinking with his homies and his brothers, and he was just drinking. And then he started telling me wild stories he had in high school and all that shit. It was crazy. I'm not even gonna tell you all his business because he's still my friend. Like, I still, he's still cool. I just know that we probably aren't ever gonna hang out again, but he really is a dope person. But anyway, he's still like, just going about his day and everything like that and whatnot, right? Cool, babe. So we ended up just like talking and whatnot, and he's still drinking. He's like, oh, I'm hella tired. I'm gonna go take a nap. I was like, okay. And he goes and take maybe like a 15-minute nap before we have a customer, and they don't need their car, but we need to go park their car. So I go get him. I'm say, hey, I have a customer. I need you to go park this car. And he was like, okay, bet. So he goes to go park it. I give a customer their ticket thing, stuff, whatever, and they leave, right? So they leave, and I'm just like sitting there chilling, and at this point I'm like playing music, I'm like watching TikToks and doing all that shit, right? I'm doing all this shit. So basically, I don't know when the time just flew by hella quick, but as soon as it hit 3 a.m., which is usually the time it picks up for us, customers started to pour in. People started to show up, and trying to get their car and everything. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. Like, I'm putting it in the system, I'm checking people in, stuff like that. And then I realized I haven't seen this dude come back from parking the car. And I was like, oh, well, another part of his job is he's supposed to move around cars too. So I'm not sure, what he was doing, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, yo, I think he just went to go like park some cars, like he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be moving and parking and getting other cars ready to be taken out and stuff like that. He's supposed to be doing that. So I thought that's what he was doing. But I'm like calling his phone or texting him and calling him and being like, yo, we have customers. I need you to come get their car. I need you to come, go get their car and bring it back and da-da-da. So I'm like trying to call and reach him, and it's going straight to voicemail, and my texts aren't getting to him. Like, he's not reading them or nothing. And so I start to be like panicking because I don't know what to do. I don't know. Like, I don't drive cars. So even if though I'm not supposed to leave behind the counter, because that's where all the keys are. That's where that's where the money is and stuff like that. So, like, I don't know. So basically, I start to get a little worried, and at this point, the other person, he comes in, he's like, "Yo, where's so and so?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. Can you go and look for him? Maybe he's using the bathroom out, on the lot and stuff like that. Not on the lot, but there's a bathroom on where we are around the office, where all the cars are. So like, and it's for employees only. So maybe he's like, using the bathroom, it's taking too long or something like that." He was like, "Okay, cool, bet." But again, I'm not supposed to leave behind the counter, but I am able to make sure, as long as I stay within eye distance of the counter, I can kind of move around a bit. So I start cleaning up, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing around this time. And my other coworker comes back, and he's like, "No, I don't see him. I don't know where he is." I'm like, "Okay, well, we have customers, and I don't know what else to do. I don't know. I can't drive the car, and I can't leave behind my post. So you're gonna have to go do it." And on top of that, as I'm doing that, he goes and calls the manager, because we can't have just two people working, because it's about to slam. It's about to get busy. Around 5 a.m., that's usually when it's probably the busiest out of all the days. That's probably the busiest, is around 5 to 6 a.m. So right now it's 3 a.m., right? Or 3:30 a.m. And he's calling the manager. Manager's not answering, because the manager's not supposed to be here till at least 6. So they're still getting their sleep in. So until then, we're just gonna have to do what we do, right? 4:30 rolls around, and another coworker, we don't like this bitch as hell, but anyway, another coworker comes, and he's the wannabe manager. He's the one that is always micromanaging what you're doing, and always being like, "Oh, actually it's like this. Oh, actually it's like this. You're doing it wrong. It's not like that." Or he's always telling the managers every little thing you're doing, like, "Oh, so and so didn't clock in for their lunch, and I think they're trying to get a free lunch and get paid on their lunch break," and stuff like that. Like, they're always doing little stuff like that, and it's so annoying. That's why no one liked him. Anyway, though, he comes in, and I'm like, "Oh, damn," because I know he's the biggest snitch of all time. On top of that, he's really close to the actual owner, who is one of the managers of the office place. So I know as soon as he finds out that, Mr. Carr is not where he's supposed to be and not doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's going to have a lot to say to the owner himself. And I don't know how the owner rolls, but like, it is what it is. And so basically, I thought that was crazy, dog. I thought that was mad crazy. So anyway, though, right? So tell me why. He comes up to me. He's like, "Where's Mr. Carr?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know where Mr. Carr is. Like, he's a grown ass man. I don't know." Like, I haven't seen him. He went to go take a car, and I'm assuming that's what he's doing. See, again, I'm a relaxed friend, so I'm not gonna just throw my friend under the bus. Now, on the flip side, though, he really is supposed to be here doing his job, because if he doesn't do his job, it's hard for me to do my job, because I'm the face of everything. I'm the customer service. So when people don't get their cars, they come up to me with attitude, and I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I'm not the two. So when people start at me, oh, I bark back. And I'm like, okay, I need you to relax. I need you to sit down for me. Okay. You'll get your car. Relax. Thank you. So basically that happens, right? And so the other coworker, he goes around, he's like looking. He can't find him, but his car is still here. Mr. Carr's car is still here. And he's not in the back, he's not in any of the bathrooms, he's not in the break room, he's not in the office, he's not anywhere that we know of. So we don't know where he went or what he's doing. We have no idea. But we also find out he's not moving cars, because we would see cars going back and forth, driving around. We would hear stuff. He's not moving cars. So wherever he is, he's still. So I'm getting kind of worried for him. Like, I'm like, I hope nothing bad happened to him, because we have to think about it. Like, we don't have like a closed off area. Like, we don't have gates, and we have like fences, but we don't have gates to close the fences. So there's just huge gaps, and people off the street can just walk in. So I don't know if something happened to him. I don't know if someone saw him and tried to mug him, and he's drunk. Well, I know he's drunk. No one else knows he's drunk, but I know he's drunk. So I just feel like bad, and I'm like, oh, I really hope nothing bad is going on. I can't stop working though at the end of the day. So that ends up happening. And then maybe like 30 minutes later come by, and that, annoying coworker, the one no one likes, he comes back to me. He's like, yeah, I found Mr. Carr. He was sleeping in the car. You were sleeping in a customer's car? Yo, and you got caught by the main snitch of the office place? Like, damn. Yo, are you even finna have a job after today? Jesus. Like, and so the snitch, he was able to get Mr. Carr up and driving around and stuff. And I'm like, okay, good. Now we have a good workflow going. All right. Mr. Carr goes back again. Around this time, it's like 5 a.m. And Mr. Carr doesn't come back. And I'm like, Lord. And so Snitch comes back in and is like, where's Mr. Carr? Where's Mr. Carr? Where is he now? What's going on? Why is he like this? What's going on? Why is he so tired? And, I was just like, oh, Mr. Carr, he said he wasn't feeling well when he came in for his shift. So, I suggested to him he slept it off, but maybe he needed more sleep. So I don't know, but maybe that's the reason. That wasn't the reason. He was drunk as fuck. But anyway. So basically, Snitch is kind of getting, suspicious. He's not really buying that, Mr. Carr is sick. He's not really buying that shit. But at the end of the day, like, me and the other coworker that worked with Mr. Carr, we're both not snitches, and we're really close with him because we work with them a lot. So we're not finna say nothing. And even he knew he was like drunk too, because he saw him drinking. So even the other coworker was like, I don't know, like, I think he's sick or something. Like, that's all he said. And then I was like, yeah, he said he was sick. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, he said he was sick. So, the Snitch is like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Like, we can't be doing this. Like, we're not supposed to be valet. That's his job. And I'm like, well, you might want to go take that up with him, because I'm doing my job and I don't know what any of y'all want me to do about it. Like, I don't drive and I'm not moving from my spot. So y'all might want to like get it together and go figure it out. So basically, right? Yeah. basically, again, they found him in another customer's car sleeping. He was dozed off at the wheel. And at this point, like, it's like, yo, dude, you might as well just go home. You know what I mean? Because you keep sleeping on the job and you can't keep doing that. But at the same time, he's really extremely drunk. He's not even really supposed to be driving anyway. So, but he's done it before. So as soon as he left, he drives off. He gets home just fine. He gets home safely. So after that incident, right, like, I've been having a couple problems with that workplace, and so I had an off day and I was bored, and so he hit me up that night and he was like, yo, do you want to go out and drink with me and my friend? I was like, yo, cool, bet, yeah, let's go. So he picks me up in his friend's car, his friend's in the car, and we go and we drive to like this beach area, and we're like drinking, we're having fun, and he's like, oh, like, do you have another girl you want to bring? And I'm like, oh, yo, dope, like, let me call my sister. My sister is transgender, but she is a female. She's female. So I call her up. She's a hell of a good time. She likes to party. She loves drinking, and she's down for whatever. So I call her. She comes up. She brings more stuff for us to drink, and I sent her money and everything like that. So I guess my sister was really feeling Mr. Carr's friend, because she wanted to like spend time with him by himself. I'm talking to Mr. Carr, and I don't know what it is. There was this rumor around the workplace, though, that our other coworker that we work with, me, Mr. Carr, and the other coworker that we work with on the overnight shift, come to find out, there's a rumor going around that, you know, he's been flirting with me and that he likes me or whatever. I don't know nothing about this, but that's what was told to me. And I was like, oh, okay, like, that's weird, but I don't like him. He's not my type. He's old as fuck. He has kids. Like, no. Or he has a kid or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm like 20 something, 21, I'm pretty sure at this time. So I'm like 21. I'm like, I'm not down for that. And like, no. So I'm like, no, I'm not with it. But Mr. Carr keeps bringing it up, and I'm like, I'm trying to tell you, I don't fuck with him like that. Like, I don't care for him. And I was like, you know, he does pick me up, and then you know, at my house, and we both go to work together, and then we both leave work, and he drops me back off at my place because he doesn't live far from me, and it's on the way for him. So it's not an inconvenience for him. But you know, that's only on the few days, because me and his days don't really match up like that. We only work together maybe 3 times a week. So, you know, it's not like that. But he's never told me anything crazy like that. I don't know. So then basically, tell me why Mr. Carr, he seems like he's getting irritated. Like, he looks like he's getting mad. You know what I mean? That now I'm saying, like, oh, like, yeah, he's cool, but like, I'm not really like into him like that. Like, you know, I don't know what his deal was. Mr. Carr had issues, but he'd been drinking. So I was like, okay, maybe it's the drink hitting us all. Like, I was okay, like, I wasn't drunk, but like, I was buzzed. So eventually, you know, Mr. Carr's friend said he's ready to go home and everything. And so I told my sister, okay, sis, it's time for us to go home too, like, let's go. And she was really feeling the brother and everything like that. And as my sister's dropping me off at home, I'm texting Mr. Carr like, yo, I had a good night, but you know, it just felt like something was off. So I hope my sister wasn't like being too much. And Mr. Carr had the audacity to say, nah, it actually wasn't your sister that was causing problems. What? I was causing problems? Like, what did I do? I was like, what do you mean by that? What'd I do? And he was like, nothing, I'll talk to you later. Don't worry about it. And I was like, nah, tell me, like, what's wrong? And he just never messaged me back. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, that was weird. So we end up, we still work together. That's what's crazy. We still work together, but I never brought it up again. I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe it was just because we were drinking or whatever, right? So that was the first time we hung out. So again, I was having issues with this job, and at this point, like, this particular day, like, I was like so fucking over it. Like, I quit on the spot. I didn't want to work there no more. So I quit on the spot, and I didn't want to work there. I still was working my Amazon job, so I wasn't worried about it. So I just stopped working there, And then as soon as I got off work, I texted him. I was like, yo, I just quit the job, da da da. Because we both be telling each other how much we hate our jobs. So I told him, yeah, I quit. Like, I don't want to do that shit no more. He was like, okay, cool, bet. So he's like, all right, so say less, and we finna go out and drink. And I was like, yo, for real, homie? He was like, yeah, like, you important to me. Like, don't even trip about it. Like, I'm finna call off. They not finna do shit. And I'm like, okay, damn, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, they not finna do nothing, but I'm finna call off. We finna go drink, and, it's just finna be me and you, and we finna vibe. I'm like, okay, cool, bet. This is where the story really pops in. Okay, that was all context, right? All right, cool, bet. So tell me why. Don't even do me like that. So tell me why. He picks me up in his car and everything, right? We start driving, and then we get out, and we in the where did we go? I think we went to a 7-Eleven. We went to a 7-Eleven and everything. And I think he said something about his ID. I don't even know, yo. I don't even know. But anyway, so we go in, I get some some my cards or something like that. And I'm gonna go and pay for my stuff. And the cashier guy, he's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Can I have your number? While Mr. Carr is standing right there. And I'm like, no. First of all, it's already awkward. But two, you're not my type. And I don't want to, gas you like that. And then, so you, scam my shit twice. I'm like, oh, haha, thank you. You're too kind. And I'm like, here you go. Here's my card. Take my card, please. And he's like, nah, it's on me. But I want your number. And I was like, okay, cool, fine, whatever. So I write down a fake number. I didn't give him my real number, but I wrote it down. Like, here you go. Call me, text me. Yeah. I was like, thank you for my free stuff and da da da. And he was like, you better be of age. And I was like, I am. I have my ID out and ready. If you want to see it, it's not a big deal. I was like, okay. Anyway, let me stop playing. So then when we get back in the car, he seems like he has a little attitude about it. He was like, oh, so you just get hit on by all guys, don't you? And I'm like, I guess. What do you want me to say? I am beautiful. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to tell you? So then, we go around driving again and stuff like that. This night was such a blur. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because I was pretty drunk, but I wasn't that drunk. No, I wasn't too bad. You know what I'm saying? But it was a blur. So I'm gonna tell you to the best of my ability what I think happened for the most part. And these are the fill-in gaps. Now I remember the major parts, the big chunks that are important. I remember all that. I don't remember much else though. So me and him, we got a box. I think it was 16 cans, and they're the tall cans. Oh no, they're the short cans, but they're the party pack. They're the party pack one, and they're the one that was different flavors and everything like that. And he keeps drinking one after another. He had 6 by himself, and I was still on my second, because I like to ride it out, especially because I know it's gonna get me buzzed. I know it's gonna get me drunk eventually, but it's a lot of sugar, and I'm gonna crash before I actually get drunk, and I don't want that. So I already knew that much about myself, so that's why I was riding it out. But I was trying to keep up with him, and I just could not keep up with this man. But he was Hispanic, so that's probably why. Anyway though, so he's drinking, and we're talking, we're laughing, da da da. And I don't know what this dude was. He started to get really drunk, right? Very, very drunk. And we were at this park area, and he was like, oh, you could go use the bathroom, because I was like, oh, I have to use the bathroom. And he was like, oh, there's a bathroom right there. And I went to go open it. It's locked. So I was like, oh shit. I was like, how far is your place from here? Do you think I could just maybe use your bathroom? And he was like, yeah, you can go use my bathroom, whatever. I was like, okay, cool, bet. So then basically, he's driving, but he's driving reckless, not too reckless, But you could tell he's drunk because he's going like swerving and he's doing a lot, and he's doing too much. And so I figured, I was like, okay, maybe we can hang a bit at his apartment. But he was like, nah, I don't want to hang out at my apartment because my da-da-da is there, da-da-da. It don't matter who was there because they were asleep. But he was like, I live with other people, so I can't just like, just chill and stuff like that. I want to go out and do stuff. I was like, okay, cool. So I went in his house, right? And I go to use his bathroom. Yo, this man's bathroom was trashed. Trash everywhere, laundry everywhere. It was disgusting. Garbage everywhere. Thank God I didn't see no ants and rats and roaches and stuff, because I was surprised I didn't. But that bathroom was nasty. The bathtub, it looked like it was filled with stuff, so it doesn't even look like it was a functioning bathroom, to be honest with you. But that's, sorry for my face, like, because I'm remembering how nasty that place was. It was fucking gross. Like, it was nasty. Like, think of hoarders, a hoarder's bathroom. That's what it was. But the bathroom, the toilet was still functioning. The sink, I think, was functioning, but it was so dirty. Like, I didn't really want to touch it, to be honest with you. I was like, I feel like my hands would get even dirtier even if I did wash my hands. So I'm good. I would just wipe it off and get some hand sanitizer, because I didn't trust it. So basically, right, I go out the bathroom and he goes to use his start on his bathroom, and then we hop back in the car and we're like riding around, and I'm like, it's been cool night. It's around like 1 a.m. or something like that, right? And I'm like, yo, we might as well just go ahead and let's get going. So at this point in time, it's technically Memorial Day, I think it was. I don't know. I think it was Memorial Day, but I knew it was a federal holiday though. I knew it was a federal holiday on the actual calendar. Like, I think it was Memorial Day, if I'm not if I'm not tweaking. So basically, it's Memorial Day at this point because it's past 12. It's around 1 a.m. and I'm like, I'm really tired. I'm ready to go home. And he's like laughing with me. He's touching up on me. He's like hugging me and grabbing me and stuff like that. He's not grabbing up here or anything, but he starts like grabbing my thighs and squeezing me. And I'm like, we're supposed to be friends. What are you doing? Like, I don't know if it was him getting drunk. Because here's the thing though. Here's the thing also. He always said that when he gets drunk, he would, like when he's sober, he wants to F a girl who is 8 and higher, I think, whatever that means on his little scale. But he says when he's drunk, he says that he can consider like a 6 and higher or something like that. Something, I don't know, something low like that. Or low or whatever. All women are beautiful, so what the fuck. Anyway, so I don't know, but he said something like that, right? So I'm starting to think maybe he's trying to see me as attractive now that he's drunk. First of all, even if you find me attractive, I don't find you attractive. We're supposed to be friends. That's what I'm on. And I technically was talking to a dude, so I wasn't trying to like, give mixed signals. And I already had issues with my other coworker telling me he actually liked me and he wanted to be with me. I would tell you that's a whole story time within itself, but it would be a very short story time. So let me know if you guys want to hear, that place was toxic. But anyway, so tell me why though. Tell me why. He's like still grabbing on my thighs and everything, and he's trying to hug me and touch me and all this, and I'm like, no. And he's just like, yeah, like, you so, like, why you like that? I'm like, yo, you need to be paying attention to the road, because he's going like this, and he's swerving a little bit, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm grabbing the wheel, and I'm trying to help him, like, go straight, because I know we're both messed up, but at the same time, I know we're both messed up, but at the same time, like, I'm more sober than he is, but I don't drive. I driven before, so at least I know how to go a straight line. This dude don't know how to do that right now because he's swerving all up in the lane. As soon as he's swerving, we do get to my Kent, which is where I was staying at the time. We do get to that main area. We're still like about a mile away from my house and stuff like that, and we hear sirens behind us. I'm like, damn, sirens? Oh my God. I was like, we've been getting in so much trouble because you're messed up. We've been drinking. There's open containers in here, right? So like we're both gonna get in trouble. And I didn't think I personally was gonna get in trouble. But at the same time, like, I didn't want him getting in trouble because then he wouldn't be able to take me home. You know, I know that was selfish of me to think like that, but you have to realize it's 2 a.m. I'm out there a little bit. I'm kind of buzzed. So if I was to be stranded out there, you know, it'd be really difficult. It'd be a dangerous situation for me. So he pulls over and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. He's like, nah, it's okay. It's cool. It's cool. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I'm good. Like, I got it. I'm like, no, you're not good. You were just swerving all over the lane. You're about to get arrested. He was like, no, I'm good. I got this. I got this. So there's 2 officers. One gets out though. One gets out and the other one's standing by my window. And my window's still up, but he's like looking inside the car and everything. And so the other officer on Mr. Carr's side, he's like, hey, you know, do you know why I pulled you over? And Mr. Carr's like, no, I don't. And he was like, okay, well, you were swerving. So how much have you been drinking? He was like, oh, I just had a few beers, which was not true, which was not true. But he said, oh, I just had a few beers. I'm taking her home right now. And he sees all the open containers. And there's like a lot empty that you could see. I tried to put some back in the box so you could see as much. But basically, we almost drank the whole entire box, which is about 16 to 18 cans, I believe. Because I had 2 that I had on me. So like 18 cans, I think. So there's a lot of cans that are still out because I wasn't able to fit all of them in the box in time by the time we pulled over and the officers walked up to the car. So there's still empty cans everywhere. And he's like, oh, there's a lot of cans. Like, have you been drinking all those cans? And that's when I was like, oh no, the cans are mine. It was me. I've been drinking a lot, you know. And the officer's like, ma'am, I'm talking to him. I need you to be quiet. I'm like, okay, well, I tried. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. So now, granted, yes, some of the cans were mine, but I maybe had 4, maybe 4 cans by this point. He had the rest of the cans. There was a lot of he had about 10 cans just to himself. So we had a lot of cans that were empty and some that weren't open just yet. So, you know, the officer's like, oh, well, if you had a few beers, why are you slurring your words? And, you know, why are you going in circles? Like, why are your eyes red? Like, he knows he's fucking drunk. He's just messing with Mr. Carr at this point. So the officer's like, okay, go ahead and step out the car for me. And Mr. Carr steps out the car. And the officer's like, okay, so you're under arrest for DUI. And I was like, oh my fucking God, I fucking knew it. And so they call another another squad car to come and get him. And they pull me out the car. And this is where things get messy because so the car wasn't my friend's car. It wasn't Mr. Carr's car. It was his sister's car who was out of town, and he was taking her car because he was watching her house and he was watching her dogs. So he just got arrested. I'm worried about the dog at this point. I don't know what's going to happen to the dog or the car. Well, obviously the car's going to be towed, but I don't know how much trouble he's going to be in with his sister. And I don't know if the dog's going to be okay because remind you, it is Memorial Day. It is a holiday. So that means that him getting locked up, he's not going to be able to get a lawyer until the next day. He's not going to be able to get a lawyer. or get anyone else. So he's gonna have to spend a whole day in jail. And I felt bad for him, but at the same time, I told him, don't drive either. Don't make it seem like I told him to drive. I did tell him I wanted to go home, but what I said before we took off, or before he started the car, I said, hey, let's sit here, let's drink some water, sober up a bit before you take me back. I don't want you driving drunk. He's the one that said, no, I'm good, I'm okay, I got this, and he peeled off. So I was like, car seat, you got me bit, like what? And of course, I could always get out the car and I could always physically make him. That's not gonna physically make him not stop, keep driving. I thought it was better if I just stayed with him. And I was like, okay, so maybe if we get back to my place, I can at least give him some water, some Gatorade or something for him to sip on and sober up a bit more. So that was the plan on why he was taking me home, and that's what I was gonna do for him. And I was like, he can sleep on my couch. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But I don't want you driving anymore. That's what I told him. That was supposed to be the plan before we got pulled over. And no, we got pulled over, and now he's getting arrested for a DUI. So I was like, oh my fucking God, like this is crazy. So then the officers pulled me out, and they're like, so how much had he really had to drink? And I was like, officer, I don't know. I didn't physically see him drinking. I didn't see him drinking. He told me he had a few beers, and everything like that. So I believed him. I didn't think he was that messed up, but because I'm pretty drunk and I'm in the passenger seat, that's why I wasn't paying attention. So then the officer's like, well, where do you live? I told him where I lived, and I gave him my ID. And he's like, okay, well, I can drive you home. And so that's why I was put in the back of the police car and everything. And I thought it was so crazy I was in the back of a police car. But obviously I wasn't being arrested. But it's still, I was like, this is my first time in the back of a police car. And I didn't like it. But okay. But yeah, anyway, so basically tell me why as soon as that happens, like as soon as I get home, I call my best friend and I tell her everything that happens. I tell her everything. Because I was like, oh my God, you never believe what just happened to me, right? On top of that, mind you, I did not forget that he tried touching up on me and stuff like that. Like, I do not forget that. So I was telling her the whole tea and everything like that, because she's in a whole different, like, country. So she was actually up and not doing anything when I called her, which was dope. So anyway, so yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I was like, damn. So he did eventually get out. He did get a lawyer to fight the case, and then he did tell me, he did have to stay a day in the jail, but his sister's car was okay, and the dog was okay, so everything was cool. I said, okay, bet. I was like, you really scared me. But the first thing he asked me was, hey, did you get home safely? Are you okay? And I was like, that's really nice of you to really say that. But I knew at this point in our friendship, we weren't going to do this again. Because like I said, he always had been drinking and driving. But again, I always thought maybe he was okay to drive, but he wasn't. So that was the time my friend got a DUI, and I was with him. And I tried covering for him. I mean, he beat the case, I think. I don't know. I haven't heard back from him or anything like that. So I really don't know. But Mr. Carr, yo, you wildin'. No more drinking and driving. I really don't fuck with that shit hardcore. Like, you will never catch me with someone who drinks and drive. Like, I'll really slap you. Anyway, so with that being said though, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. I hope it was interesting, funny, wise, whatever you guys want to say. But please like this video, comment down below anything you want, and share my video. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Peace from the Mazique. Bye.